Hi guys, so in this second video for visualization, we're going to continue to practice our visualization skills. What we're going to do in this particular one is I'm going to show you a game between Nimzovich with the white pieces and Alapin, and it doesn't really matter who played the game. What we're interested in is trying to follow along with the position in our mind's eye. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use 4 moves in total, so 8 ply, so 8 half moves. And I'm going to call out those moves, and I want you to try and just look at the board and see if you can keep that position in your imagination, right? And let's begin. You'll see what I mean very soon. So the first moves are pawn to e4, pawn to e6, pawn to d4, pawn to d5, knight to c3, knight to f6, e takes d5, knight takes d5. Are you able to picture that position? Let's put it on the board. Pawn to e4, pawn to e6, pawn to d4, pawn to d5, knight to c3, knight to f6, e takes d5, and here black played knight takes d5. We're gonna keep on going with the same thing, again 4 moves in total. Knight to f3, c5, knight takes d5, queen takes d5, bishop to e3, c takes d4, knight takes d4, and pawn to a6. Do you think that you have that position? Let's compare it by putting the position on the board. Knight to f3, pawn to c5, knight takes d5, queen takes d5, bishop to e3, c takes d4, knight takes d4, and pawn to a6. Is the position on the board matching the position that you had in your mind's eye? So hopefully it has, but if it's a difficult exercise for you guys, I would not worry too much. This is just a way to sharpen our visualization skills, but of course it requires a lot of practice. So I'll call out the next set of 4 moves, so 8 half moves. White now played bishop to e2, queen takes g2, bishop to f3, queen to g6, queen to d2, pawn to e5, queenside castle, and e takes d4. Now the position is starting to get, I think, more messy, more confusing. Hopefully some of you guys still have that position in your mind. Let's put it on the board. Bishop to e2. White now, rather black, now captured the pawn on g2. Bishop to f3. Queen went back to g6. Queen to d2. Pawn to e5. And here white played the move queenside castle, and black captured the knight. So the position is very messy, and black has an extra piece. White now, let's continue. White played bishop takes d4, knight to c6, and here white played bishop to f6. Queen takes f6, rook he1 check, bishop to e7, bishop takes c6 check, and king to f8. The game was over very soon after that. In fact, 2 moves later, white won by checkmate. If you want to test your skills and it's not easy, you can try and picture that position and see if you can figure out how white forces checkmate from that position. For those of you who have a very clear picture in your mind, it would be almost as easy as after I now put it on the board. For those of you where the position is very blurry, it can be basically impossible. So this is the importance of visualization. Let's put the moves on the board. Bishop takes d4, knight to c6, bishop to f6, queen takes f6, rook he1 check, bishop to e7, bishop takes c6 check, and here it's where black played the move king f8. Perhaps an important question is to ask why black didn't capture the bishop. Can you see why? If you can see why black didn't capture the bishop, that will be a big help in trying to figure out how white wins from this position. If you were able to see this position already clearly in your mind, you may have already solved it. Otherwise, try and solve it from here if you wish. I will now show the winning line. White sacrifices his queen with queen d8 check, bishop takes d8, and rook e8 checkmate. If you were able to solve the position when it was like this, but struggled or found it completely impossible to figure out a solution when it was only in your mind's eye, then this tells you that you would benefit greatly from visualization, which should come as no surprise because I think every chess player on the planet can improve their visualization and can certainly benefit from improved visualization. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in another very similar video coming up next.